Ever feel like you're drowning in information? We're all about getting to the good stuff fast today. We're diving deep into something most people probably haven't even heard of, but it's surprisingly important. It's all about these membrane processes and how they're used in, industrial biotechnology.
Right. Specifically in what's called downstream processing. So it's, how we isolate and purify all those bioproducts we keep hearing about.
Yeah, exactly. So we're basically talking about the science of getting pure stuff from, well, from messy biological mixtures. And our source material is some pretty interesting notes on industrial biotechnology. So, real cutting edge stuff here.
Absolutely. It's all about how we take these the raw materials, the biological products, and refine them using these incredibly sophisticated filters, basically. And it's a key part of making these bioproducts actually useful for for anything really.
So filters. I mean, that sounds pretty straightforward. I mean, what's so high tech about that?
Well, the principle is pretty simple. I mean, you're using pressure to force a mixture through a membrane, but the magic is in the membrane itself.
Okay, so let's break that down a bit. Like, what exactly are these magical membranes? What makes them so special?
Right. So these membranes, they're what we call semi-permeable, which means they let some molecules through but not others. And it all depends on the size and shape of the molecule or even its electrical charge.
So it's like a super selective bouncer at a molecular nightclub, only letting the right molecules in.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good analogy.
So how common are these membrane processes? I mean, we're talking about industrial biotechnology, so it's got to be more than just a few labs using this, right?
Oh yeah. They're absolutely essential. I mean, almost all downstream processing relies on these techniques. And downstream processing, well, that's the whole process of taking the raw biological material and turning it into a usable product.
Okay, so these membranes are like the workhorses of biomanufacturing, and the notes specifically mention ultrafiltration (UF) and reverse osmosis or RO. What's the difference between those two?
Well, with ultrafiltration, you're using a membrane with slightly larger pores. So smaller molecules, like salts and water, they can pass through. But larger molecules like proteins, those get held back. Now, reverse osmosis, that uses a much tighter membrane. So tight, in fact, that only the solvent, usually water, can get through. So you're basically purifying the water, leaving behind everything else.
Oh, okay. So UF is like a fine mesh sieve, for the bigger molecules, and RO is like the ultimate water purifier.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it.
So we've got these different types of membrane processes.
Yeah.
Where do they fit in the whole production process? I mean, is it just one step?
Oh no, they're used all over the place. I mean, early on, you might use ultrafiltration to remove the bulk of the cells from a culture. So you're separating the cells from the liquid, the broth that contains the bioproduct you're after.
Makes sense. So it's like the initial cleanup step.
Exactly, and then you might use it again later to concentrate the product. So you're essentially making it more potent, and both UF and RO are really important for desalting, removing unwanted salts, and for something called buffer exchange.
A buffer exchange. What's that all about?
That's where you change the liquid environment of the product, to something that's better suited for the next stage of production.
Okay. So you're kind of tailoring the environment for what comes next. So basically, from the initial cleanup all the way through to the final product, membrane processes are kind of running the show.
Yeah, I mean they're essential. They make the whole process much more efficient and cost effective.
So I mean, it's like these membranes, they're the unsung heroes of industrial
Yeah.
biotechnology.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So to sum it all up, these membrane processes, particularly ultrafiltration and reverse osmosis, I mean, they're really the backbone of how we get these bioproducts that are, well, they're becoming more and more important in so many different fields.
Absolutely. I mean, it's all about leveraging those molecular differences to separate and purify, and it's a powerful tool.
And that brings us to our final thought for you today. I mean, we've been talking about biotechnology, but these membrane processes, they rely on some pretty fundamental principles. I mean, sorting things by size, shape, and charge, using pressure. So the question is, what other industries could benefit from this kind of thinking? I mean, where else could we use these pressure-driven separations to revolutionize the way we do things? I mean, it's a pretty big idea when you think about it.
It really is, and well, it's definitely something worth thinking about.
Thanks for taking this deep dive with us. We'll see you next time.